every sport, there is one event that stands above all the rest, the one that crowns the champion of champions. We invite you to join us today as the Professional Bowlers Association will toast such a man at the Firestone Tournament of Champions. In fifth place, last year's Bowler of the Year and leading money winner, left-hander Mike Alby. Mike will meet Don Janello, who earlier this season won his fifth career championship at Milwaukee, Wisconsin. In third place, Mark Baker of Garden Grove, California. Mark is making his fourth championship round appearance on the 16-week winter tour. The second place qualifier, Dale Warren, won his first PBA title earlier this year at the Greater Los Angeles Open, winning 4 matches on his way through the field to the winner's circle. And our tournament leader, a veteran of 12 seasons and 19 career victories, Marshall Holman. That's our field for the $250,000 Firestone Tournament of Champions. As ABC Sports presents, live for the 25th year, the Professional Bowlers Tour. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the standing room only crowd awaiting the start of our live coverage of 4 action-packed, tension-packed bowling games here at the Riviera Lanes. Because in 90 minutes, one of our 5 bowlers will get the honor, the title, and a $50,000 check. For this, the end of our 16 tour stops and our 25th year on ABC Sports. I'm Chris Schenkel and delighted to be here. The tension, the excitement is high. The tournament leader is one of the most tense bowlers that you could find anywhere in the world. He's with my colleague, Nelson Burton Jr., so let's join him right now. Here they are.
Thank you, Chris. 10 years ago, our tournament leader, Marshall Holman, won this tournament. And then, Marshall, in the last 9 years, you've done almost nothing in this tournament, and all of a sudden, you're back on top. What's been the reason for the struggle, and why have you resurrected that talent this week?
Well, I think after the first year, I started putting too much pressure on myself here at Riviera Lanes. And with each year that I would bowl poorly, the next year would just seem to get worse. But finally, maybe the law of averages are in my favor. I just bared down this week and worked very, very hard and find myself in that enviable position of waiting in the wings for that one game.
One game for $50,000, Marshall. This has been the highest scoring Firestone Tournament champion since 1972. What do you expect out there in the championship here today?
As of right now, the lanes look very, very nice. I look for high scores as of right now. But as everybody knows on television bowling, the lanes can change a little bit. So I've got about an hour and 10 minutes to wait around before my match, and we'll see what happens then.
Well, the lanes can change, Chris, but there's $123,000 out there for the first 5 players. They're ready for action.
Okay, and we have Don Janello along with Mike Alby. And believe me, they are very, very tense. They are in all of our telecasts, but especially this one. $50,000 to the winner. Don Janello, Perrysburg, Ohio, originally from North Merrick, Long Island. And Don left a 10-pin, which he did last night in the final block of games. Total of 48 games for 52 winners in the Firestone Tournament of Champions, and now down to just 5. He'll try to cover the 10-pin a little bit to the right of center. Very smooth. Not so smooth there. You saw he stuck at the line, Bo Burton.
Chris, you're right. Janello, a very smooth player, but all the players had a bit of problem sticking at the line just before we came on air. I think it was a little bit of perspiration that came off of one of the players while he's warming up. They've taken some steel wool to it. It shouldn't be a factor.
The only left-hander in the field, Mike Alby. And what a way to start in the very first game, and from the number 5 position. Here's a replay, a profile of his style.
Mike Alby, who was the Bowler of the Year, won over $200,000 last year, has a shoulder-high backswing, good deep knee bend, plays that extreme outside line down the left. Doesn't quite get up to the pocket on that shot, leaves the 3-7-9.
So he gets the 2 pins, and it's an open frame. Not the way Mike Alby wanted to start it. In the 22-year history of the Firestone, no bowler has come from the number 5 position to win. There have been 4 left-handers that have amassed a total of 6 titles, here in the long run of this championship, and for the lefties, Mike is their only hope in this field today. Leaving a 6-pin low on that left lane, a shaky start for the bowler of the year.
Mike Alby, who had trouble the last time he bowled on this championship here, as he goes a bit high, leaves the 6-pin on the left-hand lane. He bowled a 163 game as Mike Durbin defeated him in 1984 for the title. Alby, being the tournament leader, has struggled on 27 and 28 here at Riviera Lanes.
Mike Durbin, who is again our statistician, finished 6th in the overall championship, just edged out by Alby in that final game last night. Alby shot a big score. Now Janello. He opened with a spare, second frame, first game.
Come on, boy.
Janello, in his 4th Firestone, his best finish was 2 years ago when he came in 20th.
Janello, with that just beautiful form, has that 5-step delivery, every part of the body in the proper position as he comes to the line. Good pivot step, deep knee bend. Look at the full arm extension, reaches out and then holds that follow through. Good disciplined move. Janello off to an early lead. 11 pins can increase to 21 with a double.
Come on, ball. Yes.
Janello is one of the bowlers, should he win today and get 50,000, would become the year's leader, money leader. Walter Ray Williams with over 87,000 leads coming into this final stop in 16. Now Alby. Spare up, 3rd frame. Now 4, 6, and 10.
The same kind of trouble that Alby ran into 1984. As Alby's ball cuts through the pins, he leaves the wide open split there at the 4, 6, 10. He should just go for 2 pins. He's dug himself an early hole in this match. He'll need some strikes to get back in.
What a disappointment for the bowler from Indianapolis, Indiana, in 3 frames, 2 opens, total of 35 through 3, and trailing by the same number.
The importance of a championship pair to a player. Mike Alby and many of the left-handers bowled so well at Garden City. Basically, they hit 21 and 22 at Garden City, our New York stop, every year, and yet they've struggled here on 27 and 28 at Riviera. So the lanes are picked at random for audience viewability, and it's just the luck of the draw. Let's see if Alby can bounce back.
There's the elusive first strike for Mike Alby. More of this first match following this word.
There's something wrong with my car.
Can't come out of the booth.
What's wrong with you people? Don't you fix cars anymore?
I can't come out of the booth.
For one reason or another, more and more Americans are looking for a new home for car service. Firestone, with over 10,000 service bays, 1,500 mastermind computers, and 5,000 trained master care mechanics to give you the service you've been looking for.
America's driving to Firestone.
When you're searching for signs of spring, pick these warm weather ideas inside the spring catalog from True Value hardware stores. Like the 18-inch Palmyra broom by Empire for only $3.99. Get the ever-ready fluorescent lantern for indoors or out, just $9.99. This 32-gallon True Value trash can with high dome lid is only $8.88. And this 100-foot extension cord by Master Electrician is just $6.99 in the spring catalog and at participating True Value hardware stores and home centers.
It's Pennzoil's Indy Winter Sale with winning savings on every bottle. Send in 1 coupon and get 20 cents back. Buy 5 quarts, enough for an oil change, and get $1 back. Buy a case and get $2.40 back. You're getting great Pennzoil protection and great savings. So stock up now and take advantage of Pennzoil's Indy Winter Sale. Pennzoil, the standard of protection since 1889.
Tension registered on the face of Don Janello's wife, Mary. Harrisburg, Ohio. Laughs. They haven't been married that long. But her cooking has put a few pounds on Don Janello, who leads by 35 pins, double working, fourth frame.
Come on, baby.
10 pin on the right lane.
The one pin that has stopped the players so many times this week, as Chris alluded to, 48-game format. You watch the ball of Janello as it drives into 1-3. Looks like an ideal hit, but not to be. The 6 pin accelerates around the top of the 10. And very simply, Chris, they're using 3-pound, 8-ounce pins this week. The pocket's been fairly easy to hit. Carry the 10 your way.
Meanwhile, off to our right, Mark Baker, who will meet the winner of this first match. And is he exciting, colorful, and powerful? Along with Del Warren, are continuing to practice. Thus you hear that pin fall. But here on our championship pair, Janello now in the 5th frame, spare up. Fly with a high hit. Let them all.
Watch the action of the 2 pin, the 3rd pin on the left-hand part of your screen. It goes to the sideboard, drives out the 4-7. Patented Don Janello shot. Remember that shot he threw that against Mark Roth as he won the light beer championship in Milwaukee. And there's the breakdown of the prize fund. I think $123,000 there available for the players today. A lot of bucks. Alby to close the gap. He can trail by 24 with a strike.
So exactly what he needed. Needed it on that right lane to give him the confidence. Has 1 strike, one of his only 2, as you see on the left lane. So now he moves back over there. Finished 2nd in 1984. 12 titles, including 2 PBA national championships. And of course, as usual, Wide World of Sports follows us. The United States USSR women's gymnastics competition live, except on the West Coast, from Worcester, and the Kentucky Derby trial live from Lexington, Kentucky. All right, there is Tammy Alby, Mike's wife.
You see the trajectory and the angle of Mike Alby playing the extreme outside line. This left-hand lane, 27, doesn't hook quite as much for the left-hander. Over the first arrow, sends it out to about the 5th board, drills all 10 in the pit. The characteristic of the championship pair showing up. It's a very evenly matched pair as far as the amount of break and angle for right-handed bowlers. The left-hand lane, 27, hooks just a pinch more, as evidenced by the trip 4 pin by Janello in the 5th frame. The right-hand lane, all the players seem to like.
Leaving the 2-4-5, Don Janello, who's had his problems at Riviera. Best finish ever was 20th. Here's a replay.
Don Janello makes a move on the lane, adjusts for the 4 pin, and he sends it a little wider and gets the 2-4-5. The trick that Durbin, who has won this championship 3 times, had on this pair. He always threw a pinch harder on the left-hand lane instead of adjusting.
Our very first match, just going beyond the halfway point and leading by 21 is Janello.
They were asking for trouble when they asked me to test ride Monroe's gas Magnum shocks on my pickup. Truck's only a couple years old, it rides fine. I only break half a dozen eggs a day. But I gotta tell you, with the gas Magnums, my truck rode a lot better. But I still broke an egg. See that little crack right there? See?
Save during the Monroe Best Ride sale. Plus, get a $6 cashback bonus on every pair of gas Magnum shocks you buy.
It's been a long time, Nicky.
Too long.
What brought you back?
Memories.
Oh, Nicky.
Memories of the smoothest beer I ever tasted.
If you haven't had a Meisterbrow lately, have one now. It's brewed with a smoother blend of hops for a smoother taste.
It's even smoother than I remember.
Think you'll stick around this time, Nicky?
Yeah. At least for one more Meisterbrow.
Meisterbrow. Now it's smoother than ever.
The world champion Soviet squad and America's elite women gymnasts in a dual competition, plus the Kentucky Derby trial, all live on ABC's Wide World of Sports next.
Wide World next, and Bo and I would like to invite all of you to watch, in particular, tonight at 8 Eastern, 7 Central Time, the 25th anniversary show of ABC's Wide World of Sports. It's 2 hours that you'll want to tape and keep. Leaping high in the air, fired up now.
Alby has everything in the right position now. He's figured both lanes out. This will be 4 strikes in a row to cut the margin of Don Janello down to just 11 pins. Gets a good knee bend, good extension, sends it out to the third board. Watch the ball do the work. He knows it's there. Alby can feel the momentum. He can cut the lead of Don Janello's down to just 1 pin with a strike here in the 8th.
Looking away. No. Those kind of breaks. Mike Alby had gone 5 lanes to his left, and it's the intensity that he had last night to get into the number 5 position.
Watch the action of the head pin. It's driven to the right-hand sideboard, comes all the way back across the lane, taps out the 7, a shot that the players didn't carry very often this week. Alby's got to love it. The margin's only 1 pin.
After trailing by 34 at one point. Spare up, shooting in the 8th frame, Janello.
Come on, ball.
And another 10 pin on the right lane.
Don Janello says, what must I do? There's not much else you can do. Just put the ball solid in the pocket, frame after frame. The scoreboard for Janello tells a story. 10 pin in the first frame, a double, another 10 pin, a double. The 2-4-5, the only errant shot, coming in the 7th, another 10 pin in the 8th. This conversion would make the match all even.
The man that earlier this year won the Light Beer Championship in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, defeating Mark Roth. So he's been able to handle the name bowlers. But now, a crucial battle, an all-even match, Janello and Mike Alby. The winner to meet Mark Baker.
The fingertip grip. Let's see how Janello handles the left-hand lane. Should he go back to the position he tripped the 4-pin in and throw the ball a little harder? Let's see what happens. That's what he did.
Right there. Thank you.
28-year-old who's won 5 titles with shots like this.
The key to top championship bowling, the ability to recognize what you have to do, adjust, and then make the shot under pressure. Still look at him hold that follow through, the good revolution. See you later, 10 in the pit. Alby, for the first time, can take the lead, though. He has 5 strikes in a row working. Coming up 9th frame, the match is even.
He's on the right lane. And it had left his hands. He knew that he was going to be faced with a problem, and in this case, it is the 3-6-7. Now what? What's the strategy here, Nelson?
Chris, a split similar to what he left in the first frame, but this is a makeable split. What he has to do is get the ball over here in the 3-6 zone, drive the 3-pin over into the 7-pin. He can make this. The first frame was not a very makeable split. He needs this to stay close in the match.
Split conversions, this one by Mike Alby. Well, I'm seated up here with 2 champions, Nelson Burton and Mike Durbin, and we've seen the 2 of them do it, and here another great winner does it.
Alby in the clutch converts the split. He did the same thing in the PBA National Championship, converting the 6-7 split against Tommy Kreitz when it looked like it was all finished. Now he's put himself in a position where he can still win the match. He trails by 3. He needs a double to take the lead and put the pressure back on Janello. The 6-pin. Watch the 3-pin, which is the 3rd pin on the right-hand part of your screen. It goes to the sideboard. He needs some action on the 6 and 10, but not to be. Has left himself a simple spare but he's not in an enviable position. The best he could do is come out of this 10th frame trailing Don Janello by 4 pins.
Come on, pick it up.
4 pins.
Alby still takes some time on this, could finish with a 2:11 game. Janello going at a 2:15 pace would have to fill 17 pins in the 10th frame to win the match.
Seven pin. And the crowd here shows their appreciation to the great champion. 12, but again, Firestone seems to be elusive. Not only for Mike, but those that start in the number 5 position.
Very true, Chris. The situation for Don Janello is he must get 16 in the 10th. That is either a strike on this ball or a spare and a 6 counter better, and he'll go on to the next match against Mark Baker.
Right there. Yes.
Don Janello.
Janello carefully checked the scoreboard. All he has to do is, as we say, stay inside the building. On this particular shot, he has a possible 235 game. He will go against Mark Baker, the winner of the King Louis Open, in our next match.
All right, there is your winner, and Mike Alby in losing picks up a check for $10,000. Alby shot at 210. We'll have Janello's final score. It'll be in the 220s when we return after this message and a word from our local stations.
The Professional Bowlers Tour. Today, coming from Akron, Ohio. This ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you by Rich Smooth Meister Brau, the beer that only tastes expensive. By True Value Hardware Stores, we've got what it takes. And by Firestone, with over 4,000 Firestone retailers from coast to coast. We'll return with more bowling after these commercial messages and a word from your local station.
Just because you've washed your car doesn't mean you're finished. After each wash, you need some Armor All. On the dash, the bumper, and especially the tires. After all, when you're in love, what's a few extra minutes? Armor All. It's the finishing touch every time you wash your car.
Tommy Lasorda here, introducing the Honda All-Stars. We've got quite a team this year. Leading off and cutting the infield down to size, the Honda Lawn Mower. In the outfield, covering left, center, and right, the Honda Lawn Tractor. Tearing up those base lines, the Honda Tiller. And the Honda Generator, the real power in the lineup. Without it, I wouldn't have any fans.
Enter Honda's All-Star Game at participating dealers. You could win tickets and travel expenses to the baseball game of your choice.
The Lone Star State parties in a big way when Texans salute Texas Monday.
One of last year's hottest rivalries continues as the New York Mets take on the St. Louis Cardinals, or Chicago meets Detroit on ABC Sunday Afternoon Baseball tomorrow.
Don Janello of Perrysburg, Ohio, suburb of Toledo, looking for his first Firestone victory. Gets win number 1 out of a possible 4 here today, and ousting Mike Alby 224 to 210. Janello with 6 strikes in that game, but now he must face the youngest man in the field and the strongest, Mark Baker of Garden Grove, California, in that shocking pink shirt. You'll enjoy the way that man bowls. And of course, Don Janello, style of his own, very composed, very much with it.
Janello is going to be very tough this game. He's loosened up. He's ready to go.
Yes. And getting the pin action that he wants. So it's quite a greeting to Mark Baker now.
What we call a low rotation or low reaction bowling ball by Janello. He keeps it in play very much like the great Earl Anthony.
And Mark Baker. Watch his face from time to time as he's great to watch.
Mark Baker, that 5-step delivery, that powerful delivery, it's completely different from the delivery of Janello. He drives down with that powerful body, bends that elbow, gets that wrist under the ball, just palms the ball as he lets it go. Great extension and knee bend. When Baker bowls like that, he's tough. Just eats the pins up with that power ball.
And a high hit producing the 3, 6, 7, 10, and at the line he was using body English long after the hit, hoping.
A spare very similar to what Alby had to do. He had to get the ball over here in this 3-6 zone, does Baker, slide the 3-pin over into the 7. Taking a look at the approach, he'll go across lane and throw it very hard.
210 on the 3, and it's an open frame for the Californian, Mark Baker, who had to re-qualify, was 22nd here in '84, and then won the King Louis Open this year to get back into the field.
Plays that across lane shot. Watch his eyes. He likes that reaction. Just nips the 3-pin a little too much. Doesn't quite convert it. He's opened the door for Janello real early in the match.
Come on, ball.
About the 4th 10-pin on the right lane for Janello. If you just joined us, we're in the Firestone Tournament of Champions. $50,000 to the winner. Janello defeating Mike Alby in the first game, 224 to 210. Winner of this match will meet Del Warren, and then the tournament leader, Marshall Holman.
Right now, the way this match sets up, Mark Baker coming out, throwing the first ball and getting a good break on the right-hand lane for a strike, then going high for a split on the left-hand lane. Janello solid in the second frame, left a 10-pin. What Baker needs is Janello to falter a little bit here in the first couple of frames to keep him in the match, let him get tuned into the championship pair, or this could be a runaway.
Come on, ball. This is
And again.
And frustration can sometimes set in. Janello throws a good shot in the first. Looked like a good shot in the second. Here's a solid 10. Third frame, here we come again. He likes it. He's talking to it. Bingo, another 10-pin. Conversion here, he'll be trailing. He'll be leading by 11.
Mark is 6 feet 4 inches tall, weighs 195 pounds. Week average, a little over 219. After an open frame, now the third frame. The wrath of the right lane again.
Powerful Mark Baker has an excellent push away. Keeps his arms swinging tight. Now watch how these crankers get that ball in the proper position. He's got his elbow locked. Now see him bend it, then cup his wrist underneath the ball, plug just inside the second arrow, and he leaves the 10.
Mark took a couple of weeks off and then bowled last week in Windsor Locks. Finished really down the list, about 129th. But he finished third here. He's capable of almost anything.
Tremendous strike player, Chris. You're absolutely correct. You cannot have too big a lead on Mark Baker, although his television average and the number of appearances he has is a bit suspect with just a 201 average in 23 games.
Last year, he finished second 4 times, but was the high average leader of them all on the PBA Tour. A pause, and then we'll be back.
A true champion has something extra, stronger than muscle, more important than strategy. It's a personal commitment to deliver the extra margin of performance it takes to become the very best. We know we're the Champion Spark Plug Company. And we prove Champion Copper Plus delivers the extra margin of performance it takes to become a true champion. Copper Plus, America's best spark plug.
All across this land, Americans are celebrating our greatest lady's 100th birthday. By an act of Congress, America commemorates this event by minting United States Liberty coins. These valuable keepsakes will be a lasting way for you to treasure liberty. United States Liberty coins, singly or in sets, at banks, savings and loans, and Kmart stores. Now you can keep liberty in mint condition forever.
I still get the goosebumps when they play my Old Kentucky Home.
It certainly makes you swallow, and maybe a tear come to your eyes.
And I still get chills with it.
And to the end of my days, I will still cry when I hear that song.
Memories for a lifetime. The Kentucky Derby.
First set of mine, it was over.
Ah, yes. Here is Marshall Holman, the tournament leader, just waiting over there. He won in 1976, hopes to repeat 10 years later. That's today.
Probably the most exciting man, Chris, that in professional bowling. They love to hate him sometimes, but he is the guy to watch. Now, here's a guy who's just zeroed on the pocket. Striking the first, solid 10, the second and third frames. He has an 11-pin lead, fourth frame.
High hit leaving the 4-7.
Something you don't see of Janello's ball, driving the 2-pin right over the top of the 4 and 7 pins. You saw it go around on the left-hand side of the 4-7. Simple spare for an excellent spare shooter, Don Janello, to maintain a 9-pin lead.
Nelson, I know where you'll be next Saturday. You'll be watching the Kentucky Derby along with all of us, and the 3-year-olds have their last chance in the Derby trial today at Churchill Downs. But here are the money leaders, and Walter Ray Williams, who finished 11th, 87 grand.
And some of the other top players, you see Baker right there could get to 100,000 with a win today. Janello could take over the money lead. Alby could get, well, he's already got his 5,000, 10,000. So here we go.
Don Janello liked that, of course. Gave him that strike in the 5th frame. Re-rack here on the right lane.
Boy, the tender touch. Don Janello, he has enough power to tip out the 4, 5, and 7 pins, and yet not too much that when he goes high, he cuts through the middle. Baker to take the lead, 5th frame.
And on the right side again.
This is actually a tough lane condition for the style of Mark Baker. Very simply, when Mark throws it very wide to get a tremendous angle on the pocket, it doesn't come all the way back and hit solid in the pocket. When he points it up a little bit, it hooks high. So Baker's struggling a bit, needs to use all that power and speed to stay in the match.
All right, Mark Baker of Garden Grove, California. We asked him earlier if he feels any extra pressure in the Firestone. Here's what he said.
The only extra pressure you put on yourself. The money is big, and I want to win. I've always wanted to bowl Marshall on TV. Hopefully today I get my chance.
The youngest and biggest in the field, and what a future.
And he got a telephone call just before airtime from a good friend of mine and a man who finished second in this Firestone, Barry Asher, said, bring home the trophy to California.
Up next, the man from Long Island originally, now living in Perrysburg, Ohio. As you see, Baker's last strike again. Don Janello.
Uh-oh. Safe. That was close.
I guess it was.
That's when it a little bit worse.
Well, he's due to get a good break. He's had so many balls in the pocket and left 10 pins. Now, that time, he just did not get down on that pivot step. He was very high in his approach all the way through, and that's what happens. You pull ball left to your target. That's why we always say stay down as you drive through at the line.
Well, that little basketball shot, he is playing an ex-high school basketball player in Mark Baker. And a lot of promise as a high school star.
Janello fingertip grip urethane bowling ball has a 9-pin lead, 7th frame.
Come on, baby.
Talk about exasperation.
Well, he thinks he has a strike here. He thinks his ball is going to set up solid in the pocket, as you see the line that Don Janello is playing, somewhere just right around the 2nd arrow. And on almost every lane at Riviera, the ball will set up. But watch it take a little jump, 4-pin.
Okay, we're in our second match. This man, Don Janello, defeated Mike Alby in the first game. Now he's going against Mark Baker. We'll be back.
True Value Hardware Stores present True Test Painting Tips with Uncle Bob.
Hi. You know there's a lot of great reading here on this shelf, but you'll also find some really important reading on this shelf. This is where a successful painting project begins. So read the label directions carefully. And when it comes to labels, these are the ones to look for. Because no matter what type of painting you're planning, you'll find the True Test paint to do the project right. Exclusively at participating True Value Hardware stores and home centers.
Yeah. What is this? Oh, that's a, Billy, that's a,
America's learning that it takes a new breed of mechanic to service today's sophisticated cars. The Firestone Master Care Mechanic, trained at one of 48 Firestone training centers, trained in the latest automotive technology on specially designed state-of-the-art equipment, because that's what it takes to be a mechanic today.
America's driving to Firestone.
A beautiful, gleaming silver trophy and a check for $50,000 will soon be awarded here. We're in our second match. 2 games to go. Mark Baker
to take the lead with a strike.
Baker getting the supreme test here in the finals of the Firestone and accepting it. In fact, following this game will be our tip of the week. Bo Burton will, in the 5th part of his series, tell you how to handle pressure.
Good tip, Chris. Baker leads by 2. The golden boy of professional bowling can take a 12-pin lead with a turkey. He really has to muscle it down. Use that straight.
All right, the free spirit in Garden Grove free wheels it in.
Just drives them all in the pit. When Baker can get his ball in the pocket, there's nobody in bowling can strike any better. And boy, look at the look of confidence on his face now. He knows he threw it well. Let's see how Janello reacts. Nothing has gone right for him, and he still trails by 12 pins.
Come on, ball.
When he needed it, a 10-pin.
How disappointing. He could have put Baker away in the early part of the match. He started strike, solid 10, solid 10. Now watch him. He's holding that follow through. He knows that ball's solid. Give me some help. Not to be, but the match is not over. Conversion here in the 8th frame. Janello would trail by 13 pins.
Put some extra form on that shot to make sure. Don Janello, winner of 5 titles in 5 years. Member of the PBA.
Janello, an excellent clutch player, as evidenced by the way he won his 4 titles by throwing doubles in the 10th and 11th frames. The possibilities for Janello are this. He's going at a 195 pace, but he has a potential 215 with 4 strikes. Baker going at a 208 pace.
Yeah, that's it. Good shot. Way to go.
Oh, my goodness. 4, 6, 7 at the least opportune time in the whole match. Janello lets up slightly on the ball. He's actually got to go for it now. Just throw as hard as he can at the 4-7.
Disaster for Don Janello, won the first game 224 to 210, and Harry Golden, our tournament director all these years, a very efficient man. A request by Baker for a re-rack on the right lane. He's doing a pretty good selling job, and Harry is talking back pleasantly.
Once again, each player is allowed 3 re-racks, and most of the time you don't see them because they take them while we're either in a commercial message, and here Baker just didn't like the way they were set. This is the critical ball for Mark Baker. He can close the door on John Janello with a strike in the 9th.
one of the 2 men in our field of 5 that are trying to win the Firestone, you know, for the first time. And it's Del Warren is the other, who is in his very first Firestone. Mark's in his second. 22nd, 2 years ago. He looks ready to accept the challenge of Warren and our tournament leader, Marshall Holman. Just blowing them off the deck is Mark Baker, the 25-year-old from Garden Grove, California. He is the winner, and he will meet Del Warren, a rookie in the Firestone. That coming up, but first, let's take this pause for this message.
The Professional Bowlers Tour Tip of the Week is brought to you by Old Spice Stick Deodorant and Solid Antiperspirant. We give you 24-hour protection.
In this 5th lesson of a 5-game practice series, we're going to show you how to perform under pressure. With the help of this Venetian blind obscuring the pins, we'll show you the importance of keeping your eyes on the arrows until the ball is well past the arrows, at least 10 feet past the arrows, before you look up to see where it's heading, and how to follow through towards a target. It's very simply this: whether you're a beginner bowler or a high average pro, you get into situations where you may need a strike or a spare to win a team game, maybe break a personal record, even win a tournament. If you have a game plan to help you through when you're under pressure, you have a better chance of success. It's simply this: keep your eyes on the target until the ball is well past the arrows. And second, follow through with the inside of your elbow towards that target. Now carefully set yourself at the foul line. Don't rush the shot. Keep your eyes on the arrow. Remember, you're going to follow through with the inside of your elbow to the target. Watch this. Remember today's lesson. Under pressure, keep your eyes on that target till the ball is at least 10 feet past the arrows. And number 2, follow through with the inside of your elbow towards those arrows. This 5-part series, I know, will help your game. Incorporate these 5 lessons in your practice every week, and you'll be a better bowler.
Once guys try the 24-hour protection of Old Spice Solid, they may give up their usual antiperspirant mid-stick.
Your dad only used twice. Very short strokes.
Fact is, none of these solid antiperspirants help stop wetness as well as Old Spice Solid. These deodorant sprays can't block odor better than Old Spice Stick. So switch now.
Sarge, for you. Hardly used.
Kind of like your comb.
Switch to 24-hour Old Spice, antiperspirant or deodorant.
The drama.
It's up on turn 2, we've got a wreck. Look at that.
The memories.
And she's second best, I don't believe it.
A special 2-hour tribute to some of the greatest moments in sports history. ABC's Wide World of Sports 25th Anniversary Celebration. Tonight.
So Don Janello, who defeated Mike Alby in the first game, 224 to 210 now, loses and wins $15,000 as Baker shoots a 227 to Janello's 190, and in steps Del Warren of Lake Worth, Florida, to see if he can take the measure of Baker. They're warming up now for that 3rd game, and while we have a moment, I wish we had more time. These are the names of people that Bo and I would like to thank. Our 16th stop and final one for our 25th year, but Peter Lasser and Ken Wolf, you talk about talented young producers, there they are. 3 great directors, Jerry Jastrow, Jim Jeanette, and Larry Cam. Great to work with Bowtie Bob Bernthal, our technical director, who's been here practically from the start. Tony Slotkin and Newbar Stone. Now there's a pair. They have an important position, as do Dick Mulliner and Gary Ricketts, our technical managers. They're everywhere. And the unit managers take care of all our needs. Murray Schwartz, Arthur Bodegian, Bob Ellsworth, Bruce Clark, and Charlie Weissman. They're often called Gophers. They're assistant to the producers and do a heck of a job. And Tony Azzolino has been here since day one. These are the other names. Ken Amau, Ken Hunold, Jack Brandis, who keeps our microphones, along with Ray Tomaszewski. Oh, Robert Paventi. Oh, these are some people that you've gotten to know real well over the years.
And there's my crew back there.
And the cameraman, best in the business. Gene Kelly, all of them.
Great
And you're
people
seeing
bringing the
pictures
action.
of all the 15 winners, by the way. There's Steve Cook, one of our two-time champions, but there they are, the ones that are behind the scenes that do the most important work, and I'm proud to be on their team.
Very interesting match coming up. Baker, who was defeated by Del Warren when Warren won his title 236 to 200. Let's see if he can get some revenge. Whoa!
Mark Baker, a much sought-after bachelor. Our little floor manager, Ann Hoffman, is one of the young ladies that thinks he's pretty neat. Well, here is Del Warren now. First time you've seen him today. He won this year for the first time. He's exciting and tough.
6 feet 4 inches tall.
But now he is left with a 10-pin on the right lane.
The fate that was the undoing of Don Janello. Let's see what Del Warren can do with it. That very short step, 4-step delivery, shoulder high backswing. Has that cupping motion, much like Baker at the bottom of the swing, the big hook. Good follow through there. A 10-pin for Del Warren.
All right, the man that won the Greater Los Angeles Open, 4 games, averaged 245. He was in Mark Baker's home area. That didn't matter. He 6'4" also, weighs 185 pounds. In his first appearance here, last year's winner, Bo, was a first appearance man, and Mark Williams, who finished 38th this year as the defending champion.
What a difference a day makes. Baker, who likes to bowl very quickly. Del Warren, who is very deliberate. Let's see how it affects the style of Baker.
A high hit.
Well, remember Baker?
Yes.
As he started in the second frame, he's exactly what Baker left. The 3, 6, 7, 10 split. And here is the shot and the ball of Del Warren. And we've seen that split before. We saw Baker get 9 of the pins. What we know he has to do, move to the left side of the approach, go across the center of the lane, try to drive the 3-pin over into the 7-pin area.
So for Del Warren, first competition here this afternoon, he has that open frame, and it comes in the second. Here are your baseball options tomorrow. In Bo, we have 2 great games, New York Mets versus the St. Louis Cardinals and the Tigers. As Mark Baker comes through with another powerful strike. That's like hitting a home run. The White Sox at the Detroit Tigers.
All right, Baker doing what his opponent last game, Don Janello, could not do, putting the immediate pressure on his opponent, Del Warren, by jumping on that early opening from Warren. Baker has a 25-pin lead after just 2 shots. He's cruising, Chris. The big guy, when he's loose with that powerful ball, is awesome.
Well, the stubbornness of 10 pins that we've seen this afternoon. We've seen a lot of them, but that was a stubborn one.
The powerful ball of Mark Baker. He splices that 6-pin out. Watch it lay up against the 10-pin. Doesn't knock it over. Baker, who had a little slip there as he switches to a different bowling ball to make the 10-pin. He's had a lot of trouble making the 10-pin this week, Chris. He told us that he had a lot of trouble shooting foul shots at one point when he was a high school basketball player. What he did is he just started grabbing the basketball instead of dribbling it. He just threw it up there. He made 49 out of 50. Let's see if he can make 49 out of 50 10 pins.
A young man that his face mirrors his emotions. Believe me. Look at him.
What a pleasant young man. Great future. Well, he's already there. He won over $100,000 last year. And here's a man who's surprised everybody so far in the Professional Bowlers Tour. Has a chance to drive his earnings up to the 90,000 mark with a win here today. Del Warren.
The high leaving the 3-pin. Almost. He's the man that finished 4th on our telecast last week. Greater Hartford Open, Windsor Locks. Del Warren. Watch the 3.
Here we go. He goes high and leaves the 3-pin as he changed balls for another strike ball. In essence, the rule for the professional bowlers, a professional bowler is allowed to carry 8 bowling balls into the building and use them at any one time in the tournament. So we've seen as many as 6 down there on the ball return for Del Warren. He's made a number of bowling ball changes here in the first 3 frames. Let's see if he can settle down for one with 1 ball and give Baker a contest.
4 frames for Del Warren to really get a pocket hit. We'll be back with more.
I thought all dandruff shampoos were the same, but you can really feel the difference. On this side, there's a tingling sensation with Denorex shampoo and conditioner. Here, with regular Head and Shoulders, nothing. The tingle tells me Denorex is doing more.
Both have dandruff medicine, but Denorex adds an extra anti-itch medicine and conditioner, too.
My hair looks great, feels terrific. Goodbye, Head and Shoulders. Hello, Denorex.
Denorex, dandruff shampoo that conditions, too.
Now here's your burger, and
Sometimes brakes can give you a gentle hint that they need a little work.
Take it to Midas.
Over 4 million people have trusted their brakes to Midas. Good price, good guarantee. We won't break you.
Whoops.
Take it to Midas.
Whoops. Huh?
Take it to someone you trust.
One of last year's hottest rivalries continues as the New York Mets take on the St. Louis Cardinals, or Chicago meets Detroit on ABC Sunday Afternoon Baseball tomorrow.
There's Mr. Intensity of the bowling world. Our tournament leader, Marshall Holman, who won here in 1976, thinks that he can do it 10 years later. You see it live. This could be his opponent, Mark Baker.
Baker makes 2 mistakes, 2 negatives equal a positive. A little chemistry lesson right there. What Baker did, he lost the ball off his hand and pulled it at the same time. Got a great break. It's set up in the pocket. Drove all 10 pins in the pit. Baker's got it all going for him. Strike in the first and second frames. Took the scenic route for a 10-pin there in the third. Converted to 10-pin. Strike here in the fourth. He can now extend his lead over Del Warren to 34 pins. 5th frame.
Now the fans are really getting behind the blonde from Garden Grove, California.
When Baker's ball hits the pins, it does its own talking. It's like a vacuum sweeper. It drives right through the heart and sucks them all in the pit. Look at those eyes, Baker. He likes it. Very positive.
Now Warren has a strike up. He needs another right here.
Come on, Dad.
Gets it. Del Warren of Lake Worth, Florida. Earlier, we had an opportunity to ask him if he was surprised by his success this year.
Well, the reason why I did so well is I shortened my approach after the fall, and I went to 4 steps, and I took John Jowdy as a coach, and also started working out and training and practicing a lot harder. As far as surprising me, no, I've always had a lot of confidence in myself, but I always thought there was something missing in my game, and I think by going to 4-step has created the whole key to it.
Easy to say when you're big, tall, and strong like him. Look how little approach he uses. Hey, he has a 3-bagger. Now he's pumped up, Nelson.
He's come right back, and Chris, a lot of that, what he's talking about is experience. This is 2nd full year on the tour. Del Warren has learned what makes Del Warren run. On that particular shot, he had a tremendous follow-through. He's put the pressure on Baker. It's up for grabs.
Wanted that strike to give him a 24-pin lead, but he leaves the 4.
Here we go. Watch the action over in the left-hand corner of your screen. That 2-pin goes around the 4, doesn't take it out, knocks the 7 down, has left Baker a very simple spare to maintain his lead. Del Warren
Always working.
Yes, he is, Chris. Putting a little tape in the back of his bowling ball. Most players, as they bowl, both amateur and pro, have a tendency to have their thumb or hand shrink as they bowl. You have to keep some tape in there, keep that nice, comfortable, positive feel. Now here's Mark Baker up 7th frame, 13-pin lead. Once again, and I'll tell you what happened, actually, and it wasn't anybody's fault. Let's see how they react. The scissors of Del Warren, either he dropped them or we heard him clip open, and just as he dropped them, and the silence is deafening in this building right now, and in all honesty, Del Warren said something to him there. Very much respect between these players on and off the lane, and there's the reaction of a real gentleman right there. Resets himself, 13-pin lead.
Oh boy.
Well,
4-9.
You don't know who to empathize with. You know, you don't want Baker to feel like the guy psyched him out or did something accidentally. And of course, Del Warren likes to have a chance at winning the match. So we'll see what happens. He leaves the 4-9 split here in the 7th frame. Now the pin count again is very important. If he goes for the single pin, it would be a tie match. If he tries there, look at experience is starting to show, Chris. Went over, check the scoreboard.
On the score sheet of Dick Evans, Miami Herald.
Smart move.
All right. Disappointed and disgusted. Mark Baker. The match is even. Don't go away. We'll be back.
In my line of work, your insurance isn't on a piece of paper. It's up here, and it's in your equipment. With all the technology that's built into today's cars, I just don't trust mine to anything but AC filters. An AC oil filter can help protect your gasoline engine for up to 15,000 miles. An AC air filter, up to 30,000 miles. Never wait for trouble. Protect your car with AC filters.
Now get rebates on AC filters. Call 1-800-AC-DELCO for a participating dealer.
Hamburger places think it's a snap to make chicken nuggets. But when it comes to doing chicken right, they're just going around and...
ABC Sports is proud to be in Akron, 22nd consecutive year for the finals of the Firestone Tournament of Champions. Del Warren with a 3-bagger shooting in the 7th frame in this even match. All even.
That strike to take the lead. It's another solid 10. The undoing of the players that have lost the first 2 matches has been the 10-pin on the right-hand lane. Del Warren switching to a harder bowling ball to convert the spare. With a spare conversion, would trail by 1 pin after 7 frames. The tape on his finger there just to keep the pressure off that index finger that rotates off the ball and often wears a blister on the tip of your finger.
Come on down, pick it up.
This next on ABC, United States and the Soviet Union women gymnasts in a dual meet live from Worcester, Massachusetts, followed by the Kentucky Derby trial. Last chance for the 3-year-olds in a mile test at Churchill Downs. And tonight, here's a show we recommend that you tape, and it's a keeper. All the great athletes that have been in the variety of events for 25 years on Wide World of Sports, and host Jim McKay ties it together beautifully.
Some of the names, Chris, Muhammad Ali, Ivan Knievel. The guy I've always liked, Vasily Alexiev, the great weightlifter from Russia, and the soccer hero, the greatest of all times, Pele, will be in the feature. Interesting, entertaining program as Del Warren is taking a little stalling here.
Personally, my favorite in the 25-year history of Wide World is Peggy Fleming.
Well, I agree, and she's one of the real pretty girls, but another one down there you have to contend with, Nadia Comaneci.
Oh, yes.
A big slowdown here. Is this a psych job by Del Warren? He slowed the match down to the point where it's just about creeping along. 7th frame. He has to get up there and bowl now. Trails by 1 pin.
Avoided the split. Left the 10-pin. Though was the dropping of his scissors accidental?
Definitely accidental, but it has changed the tempo and the demeanor of the match, Chris. Baker a little bit upset about it. Del Warren a little bit frustrated. As you see Warren get a tremendous break as the head pin comes back off the sideboard, knocks out the 2-pin, and has left him the 10-pin to convert here, and he'll just trail by 2 pins.
These are the 2 youngest in this final field of 5, 25-year-old Mark Baker and 26-year-old Del Warren. Now after that open frame, 8th frame shot.
Mark Baker uses that tremendously powerful frame of his, 6 feet 4 inches tall. He says 195, I'll say around 215. And as you see, the leaders by round. Dickinson out to an early lead. Janello moved up there. Mark Baker. There was a 24-game qualifying here, and then 24 match play games, 48 in all. We're now to the semifinal game.
10-pin. We talk about the young bowlers. Some of the great champions of the past were here. The president of the PBA, Carmen Salvino, finishing 52nd. Dave Sutar, 19th. They've been in all 22.
This championship pair will just not let anybody pull away in the match. Baker knows this is a good shot. This is to take a 12-pin lead, not to be. He leaves a 10-pin.
All right. Now for Del Warren of Lake Worth, Florida. It's coming to the 9th frame, trailing by 2. You lose this match, you go home with a check for $20,000. If you win, you go into the finals and a chance at $50,000.
By far, Del Warren's best shot, Chris. Good extension. He's put the pressure on Baker. The situation for both players is this. Baker going at a 2:05 pace, but he has a spare up in the 9th frame. As you see the drive and the power of the ball of Del Warren there in the 9th frame. Del Warren, who trails by 2 pins going in the 10th, has that very important strike working as he reaches back to the table for the rosin bag.
Oh, he had requested a re-rack, but asked for it too late.
Well, he needs a strike here to take the lead. Well, apparent good hits have gone awry for these players. Del Warren could have captured the match right there. Solid 10. Same thing that happened to Baker in the 9th frame on the exact same lane. Another solid 10. And watch the reaction of Del Warren. He knows this ball's in the right zone. Not me, he says. Not for $50,000. Has to convert this 10-pin to stay in the lead, or stay just 2 pins behind that man.
Yeah, but a lot more in play than the previous coverage of a 10-pin. Del Warren. 1 victory. Trying here to stay alive so he can meet the tournament leader, Marshall Holman.
Pin count very important here. The Del Warren get 9 or 10. He would finish with a 2:03 game with a strike, would force Baker to get at least 19 fill in the 10th frame, which would be a strike, a 9, or 9 spare strike. Let's see what happens. A possibility of a tie.
So that's Del Warren, who is finished in this game, shooting a 2:02, and Baker leads by 3.
And he's up quickly. A strike would win the match.
All right.
He needs 8 pins on 2 balls, and he looks like he signaled over to Marshall Holman to come on over for $50,000. As he looked over to the practice pair, Chris, I've never seen this young man so charged. He was always a bit tentative in his other matches. As he said, 8 out. That in players' terminology, that means 8 pins on 2 balls. an easy task for Mark Baker. He'll go on to meet the sashaying, sauntering Marshall Holman for $50,000. There it is.
More than enough. So it'll be an all-West Coast final. We'll have Baker's final count for you. It's a 202 for Warren the loser, who gets $20,000. The championship coming up.
Hey, neighbor. I'm looking at personal computers. You still like your Tandy 1000?
Sure, just like the one at the office. PC compatible, comes with its own software. But you'll never get a deal like I did.
Oh, yeah? Well, I just did. I got the Tandy 1000 for $9.99 at Radio Shack.
Wait, color monitor included?
Yeah, say $300.
Finished, sweetie?
The wife and kid let you near it.
Yeah?
Got the same deal I did.
Well, then you better buy yourself another one.
Another one?
The Tandy 1000, color monitor included, only at Radio Shack.
At his last tune-up, Jim McGill forgot to change something very important, his engine belts. After 4 years, belts can break anytime. So don't take chances. Next tune-up, get Gates belts. More mechanics install Gates and more people rely on them than any other belt made. Remember, if your car's 4 years old, get Gates before it's too late.
Liability Insurance Crisis, a 4-part series, begins Monday on ABC's World News Tonight.
With 8 strikes, Mark Baker of California trying to win his first Firestone, ousting Del Warren, who shot a 202. And now, Baker's chance is against the 1976 winner here, Marshall Holman of Medford, Oregon. He honored the title and $50,000 here as they're bowling for a total of $78 grand, and they are practicing.
Field, Chris, just 52 players in Invitational, the Firestone Tournament of Champions. The whole field averaged 212, very close to making the top 24, just a pinch more, 212.9. Mike Durbin, 6th place, announced his retirement from professional bowling. Mike taking a job with the Don Carter chain as a manager down in Fort Worth, will still bowl part-time. Another great man that you saw there in the 7th place, the 1968 Firestone Tournament of Champions, Jimmy Stefanich. And look some of your other favorites in here. You see Pete Weber in 16th, Baker up there, Ernie Schlegel, old-timer Sutar, my old doubles partner, Powerful Hanley out there, Art Trask, The Wizard, Ozio, Petraglia, former Firestone winner, Tom Milton round out the top 24, 52nd place, paid $1,400 this week.
And I got to point out, 56-year-old Dick Weber tied for 33rd. Got to give him a plug.
Yes,
because here's another great champion. Wants to win his second Firestone. Marshall Holman, 19 titles, including 2 United States Opens.
They call him Magnificent Marshall, and he has definitely earned that praise.
All right, he left the 7 pin on the left lane. Very rushed to the line, but it was his first shot.
He has that quick style, as you said, Chris, but a very safe shot right there as he sends the ball wide. Doesn't want to go high, as the other players have done on this left-hand lane in the very first frame. Almost gets the strike, but leaves himself a simple spare, the 7 pin. Blows in that thumb hole, so we'll get some of that moisture down as it's becoming very warm in this building.
It's a capacity crowd watching with you. Sports writers from all over the nation covering this, the great prestigious Firestone Tournament of Champions. And all of us need to thank Mike Connor and Jerry Kern for their help on the part of Firestone. They've been great. And Baker, who has 2 victories, leaves the 3-6-10. A little upset the way he slid to the line.
Sometimes that happens. The approaches get a little tighter as the humidity and the heat in the building rides, a capacity crowd, and a beautiful day here in Akron as temperatures going up into the 70s. It shouldn't, Mark Baker should not have let that affect him. There's $50,000 at stake and a 7-year exemption into this tournament. And that in itself is worth a whole bunch of money.
Which is a point where we can say Mike Durbin will be bowling in the Firestone next year because he's won it 3 times and he has 5 years more on his last victory.
Agreed. The Durbin will be around until he's 50 years old and ready for the seniors tour, as you see Baker conversion the 3, 6, 10. All right, the golden boy of professional bowling, all even. He's up in the second frame.
Leaving a 2-pin. Pressure.
Just a little wide, you're right. Simple spare for Baker. You can see him starting to breathe very hard. He can feel that victory, feel that pressure.
Engaging personality. And so is this man. Charming, very bright. Talks to himself a lot. Don't we all when the heat's on? That's what Marshall wanted.
Probably the finest style in the last 20 years in all of bowling. Down low, steady head, shoulders level, just scoops that ball off the back of the wrist. A nice snap over the top of the ball. Look at that knee bend. And I'll tell you what, he made those pins talk on this shot. Vintage Holman strike, just rips the back end out. Leads by 1 pin, third frame, strike working.
There's the man that wants his 20th title. And if he can win, he will become only the third man to go over $1 million in money earned on the tour. And he would be the youngest to do it. Roth and Anthony, the other two.
2 power players, and you see the power ball of Holman. He says, take out that 10. Here I come.
And for the first time today, we get a look at the 4, 6, 7, 9, 10. Nelson.
Well, what he has to do is get over here in this zone, get over in that 6-10 zone with all that speed and power, and hope he can bounce some of those pins around over into the 4-7.
$28-pin difference. Baker with an open in the third. Let's see if he can come back in the fourth. You see Holman has that double up.
The style of these 2 players, these contemporary young players, they can throw so many strikes at 28 pins is not very much at all, and 7 frames left in the match.
Okay, Mark Baker has won 2 games, keeping alive here, trailing by 28 now. More after this.
When the big Q flows, America goes.
Still beautiful, Dad.
Took your brother through college, take you wherever you want to go.
On Quaker State.
Right. Smooth oil flow is what you want, protects the engine. See, Quaker State starts with Pennsylvania-grade crude, delivers stable viscosity.
You get great protection with the big Q.
Hey, how come you know so much?
From listening to you.
Quaker State. The big Q stands for quality. Always has, always will.
It's been a long time, Nicky.
Too long.
What brought you back?
Memories?
Oh, Nicky.
Memories of the smoothest beer I ever tasted.
If you haven't had a Meisterbrow lately, have one now. It's brewed with a smoother blend of hops for a smoother taste.
It's even smoother than I remember.
Think you'll stick around this time, Nicky?
Yeah. At least for one more Meisterbrow.
Meisterbrow. Now it's smoother than ever.
The drama.
It's up on turn 2. We've got a wreck. Look at that.
The memories.
And she's second best. I don't believe it.
A special 2-hour tribute to some of the greatest moments in sports history. ABC's Wide World of Sports 25th anniversary celebration. Tonight.
We're back again at Riviera Lanes, and while we were away, we did not bowl through. We had a little housekeeping.
Well, what happened is somebody left a rubber mark basically off the heel of their shoe on the approach, and Larry Lichstein, who is our player services director, took a cleaning pad, went up there and just cleaned it off. Everybody's satisfied. They're ready for action now. As Holman comes up here live, leading by 28, a double working, has a chance to extend to 38 with a strike here in the fourth.
And it's a 2-pin for Marshall, who just seemed to keep sliding. Nelson looked like he might not stop.
Good point, Chris. He likes that that long slide, but not quite that much. As you see the career victories, Marshall Holman would be only the 6th player to win 20 titles in the PBA Tour. Holman, conversion here, would lead by 27 pins. Oh!
How costly will that error be?
Is there pressure out there? We saw it last year as Bob Hanley was all over the building, could not close the door in the championship matches. Mark Williams went on to win. Once again, pressure affecting both players as Holman misses a very, very simple spare, the 2-pin.
That comes right back. Powerful strike. So important after disasters open to come back with that perfect pocket hit. Marshall did it. Strike in the 5th frame. Baker now with a strike up in the 4th. Trailing by 15, can cut it to 5 right here. He's stuck at the line. Gets a strike nonetheless.
Chris, he fouled. He slipped right over the line.
Did it? The light is on.
I'll tell you what, they'll have to go by the ruling now. Now, he can contest this, whether he did slip over the line or not, but I think he accepts. The nice thing about it, if there is a nice thing about it, he had a strike up. And on a strike, you don't lose any pin count. He must throw the second ball as if he threw a ball in the channel on the first shot. There seems to be some confusion among the tournament directors.
Called the foul on himself.
Now he has to reset himself. What in essence has happened, that foul shot is as good as 9 if he can convert the spare. Here you go. You watch Baker. He's down low. Now watch that little spot that they just worked off with the smoothing pad. Chris, you noticed it in Holman, how far he slid in that zone.
Oh,
there he
did.
is. He's sliding right in that zone. Let's see what happens. That ball comes in. Look at that wrist cup under that hand. And he just slides right over the foul
he really
line.
did.
The light goes off. Right now, can Mark Baker salvage a spare?
That is pressure bowling. That is pressure, ladies and gentlemen. It's the second time his concentration has been broken. The last match, accidentally a scissors dropped on the part of the opponent. And looked like Mark was through, but no way, this guy is tough.
What a bizarre match so far. Look at the scoreboard. Opens, misses, fouls, everything so far in the first 5 frames.
You look at it, it could very well have been a $22,000 shot. And now Marshall Holman makes careful to recheck the slide, and you see this hit.
The power of Baker just sawing up all 10 pins, drives that 5 over in the 4-7 zone. Holman still has a 15-pin lead. He has that strike up in the 5th working, can extend to 25, 6th frame.
This is our championship game in the Firestone Tournament of Champions.
Some of the questions we've had in our Ask Bo segment, Chris, as you see the reaction of Marshall Holman, is why do the players put so much spin and power on the ball? Why don't they just throw it down the middle? The answer is right here. When they have power like Holman, you don't have to have the perfect hit. You can move those pins around. He loved it. And by the way, I'd like to thank all those people who wrote in those Ask Bo letters. Very interesting, and we'll do the best we can to answer as many as we can.
Look at the reaction of the crowd. They love the antics of this highly intense competitor from Medford, Oregon.
Ooh. This is a carbon copy of the strike we saw Baker get in the 6th frame. The ball drives in light, drives the 5 into the 4-7 zone. Holman commanding 35-pin lead. Baker in a must situation.
That's the lane where he fouled, and he points down. The free spirit, loose.
No doubt about it. All 10 pins driven down by the power of Baker.
You know, our technical and production people are always looking for new angles, new shots, and they do some kind of job. He knew that one was in the bank. Is he ready?
Is he ready? He says, Marshall, you try to do that one. He just took those pins and took all that power and bowling ability and just scattered those pins. He took the 5-pin, threw it over against the left-hand wall. It shot back across, took out the 6 and 10. He's let Holman know that he's still in the match for the $50,000. Holman coming up, lead 15-pin lead.
Marshall Holman.
The bowling technician Holman trying to be the mathematician right now, adding up the score, figuring out what he needs. Right now, he is going at a 2:27 pace. Baker has a possible 2:32.
Re-rack requested, and Marshall says his ball did not return. The re-rack has done.
Well, as fate would have it, in a very tenuous situation, Holman doesn't even get his ball back.
There you see career money leaders Earl Anthony, Mark Roth, and Marshall Holman, if he can win today, will go over the 1 million mark.
Holman, 25-pin lead through 8 frames, has 4 strikes up, can extend to 35, 9th frame.
Last year, Marshall was 22nd, won in 1976, and it's been a 10-year disappointment for him.
Making those pins talk. Holman in the 9th frame. He's just about closed the door on Mark Baker. Baker absolutely must strike here in the 9th.
But he will never get down. What a crowd. Representatives of so many industries, Bo.
Baker right here can force Holman to mark with a strike on this ball. Stubborn 10-pin may be... Well, he hasn't given up yet. It's not over yet, Mark Baker. You still have a chance to shoot 211. Holman would have to finish.
But I made all my 10 pins.
You know, good reaction. He has had trouble, as Bo indicated earlier, in covering 10 pins, and he just reminded the audience here that he made his 10 pins today.
His eyes told the story. He saw a little skepticism as the ball's going down. Now dejection.
With me.
211. Holman just has to stay in the building.
Yeah!
There's a winner, Chris.
All right. Here comes one of oh so few that have won 2 Firestone Tournaments of Champions. Marshall Holman, a great champion. He wins his second. 50,000 to go with it.
The Professional Bowlers Tour. This ABC Sports exclusive is being brought to you by Firestone, with over 4,000 Firestone retailers from coast to coast. By Radio Shack, the computer experts. And by United States Liberty Coins. Keep Liberty in mint condition with United States Liberty Coins.
Excuse me.
Yes.
How much is it going to cost?
I don't know. I'll have to ask.
Look, is my car ready yet?
I don't know. I'll have to ask. Is this warranty good in Dubuque?
Every day, more and more Americans are becoming less satisfied with their car care. That's why Firestone developed MasterCare, with prices posted at the counter. MasterCare services that are warranted coast to coast and your car ready when promised. Because at Firestone, we're not satisfied until you're satisfied.
America's driving to Firestone.
Hey there, sleepy eyes. Morning's here. Time to come alive.
Ghost, the scent opens your eyes. Ghost, lather, and you realize that ghost is the way to make you feel alive. Ghost, feel alive with Ghost.
So, what's the mystery to your great-looking hair?
Simple. I don't use a regular shampoo.
I give. What is it?
It's Head and Shoulders. It's everything I want for my hair, and more.
Mind if I try it?
Catch.
Its dandruff protection works on your scalp, not your hair. Gentle conditioners go there.
This is great hair.
And a great way to forget about dandruff.
Today's Head and Shoulders, dandruff care that's good for your hair.
The world champion Soviet squad and America's elite women gymnasts in a dual competition, plus the Kentucky Derby Trial, all live on ABC's Wide World of Sports, next.
Marshall, you aren't excited at all.
I tell you, I'm about ready to cry. I can't stand it. This is unbelievable. You know, after missing that 2-pin, I took a mental vacation, but I just feel so great. And thank you, Firestone, and thank you, PBA, for allowing me to make a living. This is fantastic. This is the peak.
All right, now, before we get all the spoils of victory, let's go to Nelson Burton Jr. and Mark Baker.
Thank you, Chris. Mark, two bizarre happenings. The scissor incident with Del Warren. What happened?
Del was just taping his ball, and the scissors fell. I shouldn't let it affect me, and I had the 4-9 on the shot. I won the match, but that doesn't really matter right now. That board out there, I want to take that thing home with me.
You're talking about that foul in the 5th frame. If it had been a strike, you'd have been right in the match.
Well, I stuck in the 3rd, and or 2nd, whatever it was. I Greek-churched, and I stuck. At the commercial, Marshall and I both went out there, and there's a black mark this long. We both, Litchie took it off, and the next shot, I tried it, didn't slip, and the next one I threw it perfect, but I fouled by about a foot. But hey, we're professional athletes, and things like this happen. You got to come back, and I made a match of it, and I'm proud of myself.
I think everybody else is proud of you and our champion, Chris.
Okay, over $1 million earned on the tour. His 20th victory. Mr. Jay Rosenson, Vice Chairman of the Firestone Tire and Rubber Company, has something to add to the total.
Congratulations, Marshall. On behalf of Firestone, please accept this winner's check for $50,000. We also have a trophy for you.
Thank you.
You won't forget us.
Well, thank you very much, Jay. This is fantastic, and I've got one like this at home, a little more tarnished, but I'm going to have to go home and shine that one up so I can have a nice, shiny matching pair. This is absolutely my best day right now. This is going over $1 million and doing it in style at the Firestone. I love it. I love it.
Congratulations, Marshall. Thank you, Firestone, ladies and gentlemen. Coming up next on ABC's Wide World of Sports, the United States women gymnasts face the world champion Soviet squad in head-to-head competition for the first time in 3 years. It's a U.S. versus USSR in gymnastics. Plus, the final chance for Derby hopefuls in the Kentucky Derby Trial. Both events will be seen live.